Welcome to Wellness Teatime with Dr. Rita, your go-to destination for enriching conversations about mental health. Join me as I host diverse guests to discuss mental health and empower each other on this journey to safeguard our well-being. Very exciting tea time, or we can say juice time today with young people, because young people hardly have tea, right? Yeah. So I'm so excited to have you all. As you know, my name is Dr. Rita, and I host Wellness Teatime with Dr. Rita. So this time we'll call it Wellness Juice Time with Dr. Rita. Okay. And I have 4 young people here. And you just tell me your name quickly.
My name is Unitarible Olga.
Olga.
My name is Docas Belinda Nambasa.
Docas Belinda.
My name is Emmanuel Sally.
Emmanuel Sally.
My name is Runima Musime.
Runima Musime. So these young people joining me today are from different schools and different level of schooling. You guys have all done Senior 4, right? Yeah. You saw S4 Vakis and Emma as well. And Runima, you are done S6, right? So I thought let's have this conversation, because I think for me, I'm learning so much about school and in Uganda and how things work and what's going on. And it's very different from when I was at school, which was a long time ago. So you can imagine a lot has changed. But I wanted to hear from you about your experience. I do know the one thing that I've picked up is that here children actually start very early, and you need to be in school at what? What time do you start at school?
8
a.m. But do you arrive at 8 or?
Before 8.
Yeah, you need to be there before 8. And what time were you supposed to be?
Ours is 7:45.
7:45, yeah. And Runima?
Oh, do you mean lessons?
No, like when you have to arrive at school.
Arrive at school?
Yeah.
In class.
In the class?
Yeah.
So 7:20.
7:20. Yeah.
Because the lessons start. Actually 7, because lessons start 7:20.
Yeah, so you need to be in class at 7. And when you work backwards, if you're in a day school, obviously you're going to leave home quite early to be able to be at school at 7. And I understand some schools, children even have to arrive at 6. And then it's a long day until something like 5 p.m. or something like that. So tell me, how was your experience in school? In the schools that you've been at, and what did you observe as like some of the key things that introduce maybe a lot more pressure than we as parents ever kind of didn't even experience? So what is it like to be in school now? Yeah, anyone jump in.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah,
school is a very good experience. It's like you meet very many people, you're learning something.
Yeah,
but it has a lot of underlying effects that you, the student, will face, and maybe very many people will not be in position to understand. Well, personally, going to school, and some schools, feel like academics could be the end of it all.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be in class always, and you barely go outside maybe for sports or maybe leisure, anything that could maybe burn out stress.
Right.
Meaning you're always in class, and that is where everything is centered.
Yeah.
This brings you to a certain point whereby you're not you're mentally worn out, you're physically worn out. And what people undermine is that when they see that you may be physically fine, they will not be in position to tell that you're actually not fine mentally.
Yeah.
As long as you're present in class, you're seated, you're doing activities, but they will not take the mileage of maybe asking you, sitting you down and talking to you about something to relieve you of the stress. So academic pressure is one thing that affects a student.
Wow.
And maybe parents, they need results, because they'll be like, we've been paying your school fees, we've been providing it all, but they never take maybe they never get that time to talk to you, or maybe they never take you outside, maybe like go for leisure, but you're always in school. when you're home, they'll give you that maybe the liberty not to do chores, but to rather go and read books.
So
Don't
it's
watch TV.
It's
like
reading the whole time.
exactly.
Wow.
Most especially in case maybe you are in a candidate class, it is what's there. And secondly, I can say another thing that really affects a student is like peer pressure.
Yeah.
You come from a school whereby you're having the high class, the middle class, and then the low class. Everyone is having their own experiences, and everyone is going through like different things. So the people in the middle class would wish to be in the high class.
And
To be recognized
here, are
in
you
the high
talking
class.
economic? Like
Okay.
income level, middle, high? What are we talking about? Or are we talking about max?
No, I'm talking about income level.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like someone would want to fit into some group, but that group will not be in position to welcome them because of maybe their income status or something else. Or maybe someone is being faced by a certain challenge and they are seeing that maybe a friend of mine is maybe doing this. Let me say, suppose this person is taking drugs to relieve the stress. And I'll be like, I have no way out. There's nothing to bail me because maybe no one is talking to me. My parents don't have the time. Maybe suppose I'm in hostel, I just go back to hostel and wash, sleep, read, go back to school. Same cycle. You're doing that for a full year or maybe 3 months and then have a break of about 3 weeks. But you have to go back home with holiday package. And when you're home,
Now you're talking so many things. I'm like, I need to unpack this a little bit. So let's go back firstly to academic pressure. We need to come back to the peer pressure issue. So academic pressure, how was your experience? Emma, did you feel there's a lot of academic pressure as well where you've been in your school?
Let's say the schools do not really push you that hard, but you're put in a circumstance where you're supposed to push yourself to the limit, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have prep lessons, and then you're also going to have lessons during the day, and then you're also going to have assignments to do, and then you also want to have your co-curricular activities and also take care of your personal administration. So one way or the other, you're going to find yourself probably extending into the night to work late hours, yet you're in school to read and finish assignments. So the academic pressure weighs in on you because unlike primary school, in high school, the teachers rarely come in to cane you, to slap you, or anything like that. They just tell you need our assignments by this time. And because you need to fit into the school system, because at any one point where you decline in your marks or underperform, you know that you're at a risk of being replaced easily. So you have to push yourself to remain within the school's boundaries, and that most often leads to you cutting off a lot of who you are or what you want to be doing in school. You want to come and play football or maybe try basketball, but you find yourself without enough time to do it all.
To do any of these
So
things.
academic pressure pushes you necessarily to prioritize. You sit down and you look at your marks and like, the report card, the food on VD, I need to read. So
Wow.
that's basically it.
Yeah.
You prioritize it on your own. You're in a situation where you have to put it into.
Absolutely.
So in the very least, they always say, our teachers like saying that do what you're here to do. Your parents are not going to ask you how many goals did you score in a communal game. They won't ask you whether you attended a debate competition or an interact function. They'll just ask you, the report card. Depending on what the report card looks like, then they'll want to hear the other stories.
Wow, that's interesting. So Olga, you were telling us earlier a little bit about this idea of chopping, being chopped, and that being a pressure point. Can you say a little bit about that and how does it work, this whole chopping?
Basically, at my former school, we didn't have that because earlier you said that being in the new curriculum, we're pardoned because we are the first in this thing. So they didn't want to put that pressure onto us. They're like, you guys, we are going to pardon you because you are the first people. So maybe the other guys that are coming up will be the ones who face the chopping. But us, the thing is this, we had a lot of projects whereby before I left, there was this thing of personal projects. Each student had to come up with a personal project, personal report, and you had to hand it in. And you had to make sure you do not go beyond the deadline because UNEB needs that to record the marks.
Wow.
So basically for us, You had to make sure you do group presentations, and teachers could chop on your activities of integration. If at all you do not make sure, if at all your group is not active, if at all your group is adamant in class, you guys, like if you're crazy, if you do not participate in group discussions, teachers could always monitor us. They come, they say, Olga, yeah, Olga she's interacting very well, good communication skills. Then the other student will be like, this one is not giving in what is supposed to be given in. And they record the times you go in front to present in class, because basically I like presenting. I could go in front because I had this thing. I have to develop that self-esteem. I have to speak. So that when I go back, so when I break up for holidays, my parents be like, did you speak to your congregation in class or something? I'm like, yes, I did it, because I didn't have that in my primary school. We didn't have that. But when I came in this curriculum, I had this chance to speak to people. You could even speak to an assembly.
So, which is actually a very positive thing as well about that change, the shift from a very academic. I think, Runima, you probably didn't experience a new curriculum. Yeah. So for you, it was like these marks and very like read on your own kind of situation. How did you experience the academic pressure now from that perspective?
No, for us, fortunately or unfortunately, we're in the old curriculum, so that's where schools took advantage of. If you get below this, we're not going to continue with you. Wow. Some schools would say 60, where I was, I would say 65. So if you have below average 65, they would like put you in a different center. Or there'll be other some schools have other centers. So like they would have you there to do your finals, and like the others would do their finals in the main center.
So this other center is not kind of counted under the school's marks.
When your NEB is gauging like percentage, like pass rates, they know that they have these ones who are going to pass, then these other ones, like they don't really care.
Wow.
So now that would put a lot of pressure on someone. Because I remember because us in S1, S2 were playing. Then S3, I said getting serious because now I was affected by COVID. So you could come back to school, now it's still a new normal, you're still very few. And then they just start reminding you that, hey, by the way, we'll chop you if you don't make the average. You go to annex, they'll tell you annex is not good, what? The roof has no ceiling.
Wow.
So now people would be on pressure. I saw people's personalities change. Like someone used to be played, we used to hang around with a particular group of people. They used to play sports. And friends just stuck. No, I was in a single school. So like everyone is playing sports. Like evening, that's what would motivate us. Like you're there in that lesson, second last lesson of the day, you're like, hey, after this
I'm going for soccer football. Whatever,
After this I'm going to do that. So like it could keep you going. But now these people just totally cut sports off the like books. I had this friend who would go to dorm and then come back very fast, like as you're still going to dorm, because that was a slow. As you're still going, this guy is coming, and like by then you're just going against the flow, you're like a fish swimming upstream. So like everyone is going back before you're going back. I guess like it was that bad.
It was tough. Yeah. So I think that when I reflect on that and my own experience in school, where we had a lot of extracurricular activities. We had a lot of sports, music, dance, drama. We used to have something called MAPA at my school, Makere Performing Arts, something like that. And it was just so amazing, to have that. And the parents were so interested to see us actually performing, dancing. And now these days, you're hearing parents are just asking for the marks because of that pressure. They don't want their child to fall in the annex school. So when you reflect on that experience, how have you seen it affecting, some of the children? Because not everybody is going to be able to keep up with the pressure. You will find that some are not coping, some are falling out. What have you seen, kind of experienced that? And when you saw that, what kind of support or lack thereof was provided to those kind of children who were not coping?
In my class, we could do AOIs and someone does not get 1.5 because 1.5 is a 2, like it's good. 1.5 and above.
Yeah.
If at all you get below 1.5, our teachers could give you retakes that they can boost your marks because they cannot, UNEP doesn't allow below 1.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could also, teachers could always motivate us that we always have to boost our self-esteem. Whereby in my group, some of my friends could not speak up.
Yeah.
Some of my friends could not really speak up, get up, raise a hand, speak, give an answer. Such as like, teachers could do it by force. Now today, Lillian, you're going to present.
Yeah.
Such that they can boost you up because it's not always Olga going to present. They need Lillian, they need Esther, they need Enoch to go and give a speech about a certain topic.
So teachers were encouraging that participation so these children can come out as well. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe I'll talk about how this was affecting the students' academic pressure.
Yeah.
I'll just be frank. People got sick. Mocks time. I had a full month of mocks. People got sick after mocks, like admissions to hospital.
Wow.
Because of real pressure. Like having a paper every day, not even one, maybe two. And like there is what we call, maybe there is this parents meeting. In school we call it choga, kind of grades meeting. So you're below that mark. And you call your parents, you're also there. You have your report card and so it's like kind of some rationing meeting. So, and everyone is not willing to go there. People go depressed. Like you just find out that maybe you're going to be called for choga. You just lose interest in everything. You're not willing to talk to people. Now, most especially, maybe if you know that in my group, maybe Shan and I are not going to go for choga. But then maybe there is maybe Emma. Emma is going for choga. And Emma is like, you guys, you're not helping me. And Emma feels like you're not good friends. And he'll just detest from you guys.
Yeah.
He'll just feel lonely and so little stories being alone. Limited rest. When you had limited rest, you wake up at 3, you have to read. At 5, you have to wake up. You have to go for morning prep at 6. Like, you barely rested. That's why I think even people got sick.
Yeah.
Despite that anxiety. And you feel like you fear, okay, you have fear maybe for even weird things, but you just there and just need someone to talk to. And maybe I can say how we were fighting this. Okay, we still had these special programs where it's had from period whereby our teachers always had to talk to us and so about academics, our lifestyles and everything.
Yeah.
Then they usually organized like meetings where they call them counselors, and school have their counselors, the counseling bureau. So like that's the way we had to cope up with life and everything. But despite that, everything was
it is really tough, right? So a lot of peer pressure as well coming in that regard.
Yeah. For us, it's handled differently at different levels.
Yeah.
Because when you enter school in Form 1, when I had just gone there, I found people reading at night. I woke up at night and then I walked around and I saw people reading. So I was like, hey, is this how people keep their place here? Because it's quite competitive.
Yeah.
So, but what they did then, on weekends and Saturdays after lunch, they block the classrooms. So that they don't go to class. The senior ones don't go to class on the weekends because there's not really a lot for them to do, and the pressure will be sort of detrimental to them.
Yeah.
So they are being forced to take a little bit of rest in that regard. But then as you go up, of course, it becomes more open. Even your teachers start encouraging you to extend the period and put in the extra effort. But one thing that I would acknowledge is that the teachers know how hard it is. So they would always acknowledge that these things are hard, but they would always have that idea with you. But at the end of the day, it's going to end.
Yeah.
Either way, however it ends, you're going to be proud of what you're doing. We sort of always encourage you to keep pushing, to keep working.
Keep
That
pushing.
it's just a momentum thing. So I think that's how we handle it. On top of the classroom jokes and the occasional times when we disturb each other as students.
It's a little chaos.
Yeah. So, Renima, did you experience or observe people going through this peer pressure? I think Belinda was talking about that kind of peer pressure, economic or whatever class issues there. Is this a thing that is happening in school generally? Or
Yeah, peer pressure is very common. And there's a place around here that told me there's destructive and there's constructive peer pressure.
Yeah.
Because no wonder I was in S1, one of my math teachers told us maybe we should start reading, somebody reading like in the night.
Yeah.
Like when you read, then when you're in S2, you read about to this time.
Yeah.
In my head, I told myself, shit, can I be reading at night? Time came, find yourself waking up, it's cold. But you're like, let me go and push. Which happened to 3:30. And like, some people, you'd see your friends who like share skills reading, you do the same. Because now for me, I remember the people in my combination weren't so close at first. But in essence, it became tight. Every time it's like, I have this friend, okay, he does a different combination, he was doing a different combination from me. He would always walk from, because he used to sit somewhere in front, so then you would come down asking, what are you reading? What subject are you doing? What topic are you reading? Like asking people who do something similar. I was doing PAM or doing PEM, so you ask guys who are doing physics, so they will be like, what topic are you reading? And like, and then you ended up also doing the same thing because you can't just be there and like you're not doing anything serious. Like morning prep, before you think of sleeping, you first look and be like, hey, is that guy sleeping also?
So that is a constructive pressure.
That's a constructive pressure.
Where you see what's happening around you and you push to also follow through. Yeah. No, I think that's a very important point, that many times when we talk about peer pressure, we are thinking about just the negative, but there's also the positives, so that's a good positive. But I think on the negative side is now these stories we're hearing about the drugs, being abused, children, coming in with drugs, and the discipline systems are not working. So, they can bribe the askaris and whatever and come in with the stuff. So, in those kinds of situations, what have you observed as some of the issues? What could a child do to not fall prey to these kinds of things?
Personally, I saw those groups being made, but back in your mind, you're like, I have to please my parents.
Yeah.
Yes. Today they are around, tomorrow they are known. So I said priority there. I'm going to discuss with you. Okay, we are going to gist, but then there's that time where I have to do my thing. Personally, I was not in peer groups, maybe discussion groups. Yeah. But me joining groups, talking about people, gisting all the time. Basically, people could call us bookworms because we were many girls. They could call us bookworms. I'm not a bookworm, and I was not a bookworm, but I just like to pass and excel because I feel happy if I excel. Yeah. I would not want to make my mom scold at me. Yes, if I went to school to play. I want to please them such that they get that energy of paying for me school fees for the next term. Absolutely. I don't want to disappoint them. Like, hey, for you go to school to play, talk about people. There's no other important business you have in school other than doing that. So I want to set a record that being the firstborn, I want to please them. I want to do the right thing such that my siblings that are coming
see a good example.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. That is really brilliant. Emma, do you want to say something?
As far as peer pressure goes, or the drugs that come into schools, the major thing on our end is to be cautious as a person, cautious about who you go out with, who you talk to, and observing basically the environment you're in. Because one of the funniest things is that someone next to you could be using them and you would not know it. Yeah. That it seems so normal, like they seem so normal that you cannot really observe it unless you get close or get intimate with them. But then even furthermore, the schools have taken measures because now there are almost cameras everywhere. Yeah. Like there is no place you do it and you would get caught. So when you know that you're being watched, I think it's a good measure that teaching us a little bit of integrity, that if you not be proud to do something in the shadows or hiding, then don't do it at all. So they're trying to find our headmaster once said, wherever there is a dark spot, I'll put a light. So that there is nowhere you can hide.
Yeah.
So I think it's building up a little bit of responsibility in us, and basically trying to, you have that image that you want people to see, that I am this, I am that. And most often find that there are some things that slide through that, you're not really that honest, or you're not really that integrous. But when you're forced to be integrous, when they tell you, okay, we are watching every step, then you're going to be that person. You're going to ensure that you don't do something. You're not going to steal, you're not going to do drugs, you're not going to do any kind of thing that would displease you or your parents, or that you wouldn't want associated with your name. So that's how basically it's sort of taking care of the drug addiction thing and the bad habits, maybe.
Yeah, so clearly there's a lot of self-awareness, and that is required for someone to really also have the self-management skill to know that, you know what, this is my thing, this is my story, these are my goals, I cannot afford to do this, and you're constantly reminding yourself. So I think it's an important skill to have and continuously build on that. I suppose maybe another area we can talk about before we finish our tea time or our juice time is the vacation time. And, like now you guys are in vac, right? How long is the S4 vac now these days?
4 months.
4 months?
3.
3 months?
3 and something.
3 and a bit. And the S6 vac is long.
Long.
Yes, 9 months.
You can even start in Jan if you want.
Yeah.
Depending on how you're feeling.
Yeah, and also which school you're going to. Yeah, so it's almost a year. And so I wonder, like, what is happening in this vac time? Like, how are people keeping up? What are people doing? How are they managing themselves? Because it's kind of like a time when you're now sitting at home without the regular routine that you had, which kept you kind of quite busy, and now you're on your own. And we were hearing from our counselor earlier that, the parents tend to be a little bit disconnected, they're not present. So what happens in this season, and how are people coping, or what kind of things can be done to improve coping of children in these long vacations that they have to have?
I think finding a skill that you're interested in. Because when I was coming for this vacation, all I was thinking about was a mental health project.
Yeah.
And I started upon it. That is when I started getting other people joining me to work on this mental health thing.
Wow.
And it's kind of keeping me busy, preventing me from going for different things. And I don't mind is a devil's workshop.
Exactly. Very well said. And I don't mind is a devil's workshop. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. To just get some weird ideas, to just go off track. And before you realize, you're already into that trap.
Yeah.
And at times getting out of the trap is kind of hard.
Yeah.
And in case the trap is really bad, it's embarrassing to even tell your parents. That's why I would say that finding a skill and maybe try to do it to prevent that idleness, and then, enjoying life. Because seriously, according to the Ghanaian setting, it's like when you're in school, there is nothing like enjoying, despite the funny jokes you set up with your friends.
Yeah.
Maybe the little time you maybe go out and have a sport, play some football, or maybe go to the music room or do some arts. Despite that, it's going to be so academic. That's why I would say maybe enjoying life, because seriously, after my UNEB, I think I finished on 30th. Those first days I had to first remain at hostel, sleep, because it was too much. I even couldn't believe at some point that I was done with UNEB. Like watching movies, and by the way, you have to be selective, like what movie are you watching?
Yeah, what movie are you watching?
Yeah, maybe then to parents, it's a special moment for the parents to get some time for us, because basically we're in school for almost the biggest part of our life, like the biggest part of our childhood. So now, like, in case you have that vacation of 3 months, maybe like our parents should get some time, talk to us, interact with us, make them like, may our parents become our friends,
Yeah.
Some students, like some friends of mine, have like are closer to their friends than their parents.
Mm.
And it's really embarrassing. Like someone would rather tell you something than even telling their parents.
Mm.
Yet, despite the responsibilities that I have to pay you fees, I have to provide you with food, provide you maybe with some allowances. Like even those magical words, man, I just call like parents' words are magical words. There's a way they provide healing, the way they provide that counsel. And actually, when a parent tells you something, and you're maybe going to go off track, you can be like, "Hey, mommy told me this,"
Yeah.
and you remember, and you're like, "I'll listen to this magical word," rather than a friend telling you this. You're like, "Ah, no, man, I'm too."
Yeah, exactly.
Let me just try. But when a parent tells you, you feel like this is something serious and you're obligated to do it.
You take it more seriously.
Yeah.
I think you make a very, very good point that during the vacation time, can mom and dad please make some time for the kids?
Exactly.
Because that is an opportunity, a golden opportunity, which doesn't actually come back. You know, when you're now at home for these 3 months, and remember you're at home for 9 months, that's it. After that, you're gone. After the 9 months, you start university and you'll never be back home again. You're going to be, you should be. That's what we expect, unfortunately. These days, we also still have 30-year-olds sitting at home, waiting for mom and dad to bring food home. But the way it should be, you know, after you finished, this long back, you go to university, and you should then be able to fly, flap your wings and fly, right? So this is really a vital time, and I think the point you're making is that it's an opportunity to catch up a little bit, and make friends now, make friends with mom, make friends with dad, and let them know you, and give you some time, yeah. And I think for the boys in particular, it's something that I want to explore with you as well, because I think what I've been hearing people telling me in these conversations is that actually the dads are missing a lot. The dads in many homes are missing. So, how to support the boys who don't have a father figure to be able to also have that kind of mentorship, and it's very important. So I would really be interested to hear your perspectives. Are there father figures that can support boys that may not necessarily have a dad in their home? And of course, these are coming from different settings, maybe from church or from a friend's dad who then becomes your father figure as well. That kind of thing, I think, is really important. Your thoughts on that?
Just a small thing.
Yes.
I have a friend of mine who was telling me that they don't have a dad, but they
Yeah.
have a father.
Ah,
She
nice.
said that
yeah,
a father is one who provides, who fulfills their responsibilities,
yeah.
but a dad is a friend.
Ah,
And she was telling me that my dad provides me with everything, but my father is not my friend. I cannot go and be open to my dad and be like, "Daddy, I have this problem, I have this challenge." I'd rather go to a stranger. Or maybe I'd rather go to someone else, because my dad, all he thinks is, I have to ensure that my kids have a good life, but forgetting that I have to be close to my children.
it's more than just providing financially. I think that's a fantastic point, which in essence also covers what I was asking about. And it's interesting, the distinction, the father versus the dad. So the dad is the buddy, the one that you have a conversation with, the one who you can confide in and tell whatever. And the father is the one who just pays the bills and runs, So I think that's an important point there. Yeah.
So, regarding the father figure during the holidays,
Yeah.
well, parents or adults have seasons. They have seasons where they are intense at work. They're
Yeah.
not really home. They have their time when they are home and all that.
Mm.
So I have to say that my dad has not really disappeared a lot from home. He's occasionally home for probably weekends, and we also try to visit the farm. So he's occasionally at home. But what I find as a father figure then, or the person that has been sort of guiding me into being a man, it's vacation and we have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So one thing that parents despise, I think, in general, is just having your child sit at home for 3 months
doing
long.
nothing.
Yeah, so I had to take up something to keep me active. So I was passing by a sort of garage where I was being mentored into the workings of a car while I was learning how to drive. So the gentleman whose wing I was under, who took me in, often had interesting pieces of advice on what a man is.
Yeah.
I remember one time we worked really hard. We were, I think, switching the oil of a car, and then I was down there and all that. So the following day, I come at work and I'm like, "Hey, my body is aching." And then it's like, "Ah, no, men's bodies don't ache. Men don't fall sick."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "But you surely must understand because you've done this before." And it's like, when you have to provide for people, you'll realize that you don't fall sick, but you don't feel weak. So he had a lot of interesting messages and a lot of hints on what it takes up to be a man and what the environment out there, the image of, usually have perspectives. I think many TikTokers make ideas on what men dress like, what they do and all that. But getting out there and seeing that, hey, you don't actually have to look pretty the entire day. You have to get a point and probably get dirty.
Yeah, and get your hands dirty and get something done.
There's a lot of untold or funny stories that you share among your male friends or that go around the garage. That I don't think many people get to experience at home when they're with their sisters or something like that. So I can't say I've lacked one, but as far as it goes, if people are sitting at home and their fathers are not really seated at home around, I think getting them into the outside space would be a nice way to engage them to find fatherly figures.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of men out there.
Yeah, there are many positive father figures around us, and I think your point is really excellent, that we don't have to say, "Oh, but my dad is not here," or "Oh, my dad, I have a father, not a dad." There is a lot of positive people around you as well that you can learn from. But of course, we have to encourage the parents as well to really, pick up and do better. And I'm a parent as well, and we are continuously learning and trying to improve. Thank you so much. I know we could go on for a long time, but we've shared a lot, and I'm very excited to learn more from you as young people. You're very insightful, and you've shared a lot about your experiences. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm pretty sure when other people watch our little conversation, they will also feel that they're learning something from what you had to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting us.
Hosting us.